This is Sung, and I'm the Principal and Director of Sky Academy. And in this episode, what I want to do is look at surds. Now, surds, let me explain what a surd is. A surd is another word for an irrational number involving roots. All right. Now, we worked out that the square root of 2 is an irrational number. So a surd is a form of an irrational number that involves roots, just like the square root of 2 was. Okay? So I'll give you a couple of examples of surds, like the square root of 4, 8, 72, and 18 are all examples of surd, or things expressed in surd form. But what I want to do is show you some rules that apply to surds first. Okay? So here are some rules for surds. Okay? So if you've got one surd multiplied by another surd, alright, the square root of A times the square root of B, what that will equal to is the square root of A times B. So the surd of two products is the product of two surds. Alright? The square root of A divided by the square root of B is the square root of A on B. Okay? And this is just an extension of the multiplication principle for surds. Okay? The other thing I wanted to mention is that the square root of A times the square root of A, right? Because we're squaring a square root, the square, by multiplying two numbers by itself, we're cancelling out the square root sign, so the answer will just be A. So that's that. Alright. Now if this was the cube root and this was the cube root, it wouldn't work unless you were multiplying by another cube root, because the cube root means you multiply things by itself 3 times, or cubing things means you multiply something by itself 3 times, and so the cube root will be what will be required to do that. So the square root of A times the square root of A is equal to A. And so they're some of the general principles of surds that we're going to go by. But here's something that you might need to etch into your memories, into your brains, and that is this. The sum of two surds isn't the surd of the sums. Alright? So the square root of A plus the square root of B isn't going to give you the square root of A plus B, nor is that going to be the case if you minus either. The square root of A minus the square root of B will not give you the square root of A minus B. Okay, that won't be the case. So that one, I just want you to make a note of. Okay, a big fat note of that one. All right, because that's very important, and I'll go through in the next episode how you deal with the sum of surds. Okay, when you've got two surds and you've got to add them together or subtract them from each other. Okay, but here's something that I want you to know. We can also express surds as this. The product of a rational number and an irrational surd. Okay, so A root B. And what that means is the rational number times the irrational number. So there's an invisible multiplication sign that goes in there. Okay, so the square root of A times the square root of B. Right? Now, what that could also be is A can be the square root of A squared, so really A root B is the square root of A squared times B. Does that make sense? The square of A times B, all square rooted. That's what it will be equal to. Okay? Now, why is that important? Because there is a principle known as simplifying surds down. So what you've got here is the square root of 4 is better off expressed. What's the square root of 4? The square root of 4 is 2, right? So square root of 4 is better off expressed as 2 rather than the square root of 4. Okay? The square root of 8 is equal to the square root of 4 times the square root of 2, which would be, and the square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 8 is better off expressed as 2 root 2. Alright? 2 root 2 is this surd in its simplified form. Okay? So when the question asks you to simplify a surd, that's what they're asking you to do. To take out any perfect squares, take out any perfect squares so that you're left with the product of a rational and an irrational number. So the square root of 72, all right, you can take out 4, all right, you can take out, well, what you can do is take out 36. So the square root of 72 is equal to 36 times 2. Now the square root of 36 is 6, right? So this surd can be expressed as 6 root 2, because the square root of 36 is 6. Yep. This surd here can be expressed as 4 root 9 times 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. So 3 times 4 will give you 12. Okay, so the answer is 12 root 2. Okay. So you need to be aware of how to simplify surds, because simplifying surds is the backbone of how to do all other types of surds. So thank you very much for watching. In the next episode, we will learn how to add and subtract. Okay? Thank you very much for watching.